A big welcome to October Gallery and to the exhibition No Rain Will Put Out This Fire by Golnaz Fathi. We especially welcome wholeheartedly Golnaz, who lives in Tehran and has made it to this exhibition. Yay. Her paintings, as you see, are full of strength and dynamism, and that's what we like here at the October Gallery. And that's, as well, her own description, full of strength and full of dynamism.
Welcome, Golnaz.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Always lovely to see you.
I think it was 2009. It was at the time of Art Dubai. And I think Golnaz came to see us, came to see two colleagues of mine, Rosalind King and Sherrod Horton, who is here with us. And they went to visit her studio. Meanwhile, I had gone to a big dinner, a Nowruz dinner, and I was sitting there, and the chairs next to me were empty. And I thought, well, who am I going to talk to? I have no neighbors. Soon after, Golnaz appeared. And she was sitting right next to me. And I thought, wasn't that wonderful? Just after the studio visit, she came to be with me, and we could talk about a potential exhibition. This first exhibition here at October Gallery, Liminal, Subliminal, happened in 2010, at the end of 2010. And Golnaz showed beautiful large scrolls here, 10 meters long, which Venetia Porter collected for the British Museum. Thank you, that was such an important thing. And other beautiful works. Later I met Golnaz in Paris, visited her studio. She was working on some very long paintings. And the next exhibition, Dance Me to the End of Night, had beautiful long pull-out books displayed on plinths here with her work on it. And it had videos. And it always reminds me how poetic Golnaz is and how evocative Golnaz's titles are. It wasn't long ago I went to the theater upstairs, which we use at our showroom, and I saw Golnaz's works for the first time for this exhibition. And I had a shock. I was shocked by the color that encountered me. That blue hit me like a fist in the stomach. When the rain comes, we will be thankful. Then I went to sunlight, and it pierced me. And behind me, the red on the canvas would not stop dripping. No rain will put out this fire. And then other works. A black line racing through the canvas in the other room with yellow and red. Bang, bang, my baby shot me down. And then next to us, a powerful, strong painting, the red biting into the black with the yellow, because we are the champions. Thank you, Golnaz, for creating this extraordinary statement for us. Thank you.
It's a very special privilege to introduce Dr. Venetia Porter, who's been a long supporter of the gallery and many of our artists, but who has also brought to the forefront of everyone here art from the Middle East and has been a pioneer in that area. She's former curator of Islamic and contemporary Middle Eastern art at the British Museum and is currently an honorary research fellow there. She's well known for her major exhibitions, World into Art in 2006 and Hajj, Journey to the Heart of Islam in 2012, and was the lead curator for the Al-Bukhari Foundation Gallery of the Islamic World, which opened in October 2018. She's also written many books and contributed to many others, including a book called Reflections, Contemporary Art of the Middle East and North Africa, The Islamic World, A History in Objects, Hajj, Journey to the Heart of Islam, and Word into Art, Artist of the Modern Middle East. But she's also a late book, which I've just found out today, in August 2023. Artists Making Books, works made by artists from New York to Damascus, highlighting the relationship between the artist and the writers and the influences that have informed their work. Dear Venetia, we salute you for all of your work as a curator and as a writer and as a friend.
Thank you so much for your very, very kind and warm words, and it's a huge privilege to be here. And this is, I think, the third exhibition of yours that I've certainly been to, and it is, as you, Chili, and Elisabeth have said, this is a very dynamic, beautiful, beautiful show, and these works are strong, they're emotional, they're very, very intense, so I think we're all very privileged to be here. I love the titles that we've heard. There's "Dance Me to the End of the Night." I just love that. And what I learned from this most excellent of booklets is that you wrote the titles afterwards. You did the paintings, and then the titles came after. And then all those mysterious ones that say untitled, and that's always very frustrating for somebody trying to write about an artist. But what I love about your work is that there's so many layers in it, and one of the layers, of course, is calligraphy. And to know that you started as a calligrapher, and those hours and hours over years that you spent, and you wrote out the words, the verses of Hawes, and I know from speaking to other calligraphers what an immense commitment this is, and the patience you need, and just writing words and individual letters, and then your master who of course you speak very fondly of, who will, correct you a little bit, and then you have to start again, and all of that. So I salute you for having done that. But I think what is so interesting is at the moment when you felt you could have gone down that road and become a master calligrapher, you decided to stop. You decided to break away from it, and to go into this kind of amazing abstraction. And as you have talked about, the influences on you from Tapier's and Motherwell and so on. But I think the really interesting thing is to see the script in your work, because for me, it only works because you've mastered it, but you've turned it into something else, and it's like an untold story, but only you know what the story is, because as you just said to me earlier, you don't want people to really read it, but people think they should read it, especially Iranians. They'll go up to it and say, what does this say? Is it a proverb or whatever? And you'll say, it's up to you, whatever you want to read in it, because it's full of your thoughts and your passion. So I think it's amazing the way you bring calligraphy, can one call it calligraphy, writing, into your works. And I think what's so interesting about when you look at those texts, the way you scribble over them, so you scribble and you scratch them out, and then that brings us to this other aspect which is new in your work, which is the graffiti. And you've spoken about how your city, Tehran, is full of graffiti, and you talk about it as like a messy sketchbook or something like that. You go out of where you live to your studio, that by the way, don't try and ask Golnaz to go to her studio if you happen to be in Tehran. You will not be allowed to do that. That's an absolute no-no. So, but you talked about how you go out into the streets and you see the graffiti, and then somebody comes along and they scratch it out and so on. So it's very interesting to me the way you've brought this graffiti element, the spray painting, into your work. And this is your city, that you are continually finding inspiration from your city, and so you've brought that city to us here, and in all of its complexities, that you're introducing it to us in these very, very interesting ways. Now, just to finish, Elisabeth, you mentioned these amazing scrolls that we acquired. So imagine they were right here on a plinth, and there were 3 of them, and they were literally floor to ceiling, red, black, and white. And immediately it's like, yes, somehow I'll do this. We're gonna do this. One of the things that I love about them is that I had them out on display a couple of years ago now, when I was still curator at the British Museum. And the interesting thing about them is that there is text, and it's in Arabic, which is quite unusual for you. And these are, they were the poems of the great Syrian poet Nizar Qabbani. And some of those poems had been set to music. And it happened that day in the gallery that they were amongst the visitors, there were a group of Syrian women. And I found them standing, singing the songs in from your scrolls. It was the most, and the whole of the gallery was completely transfixed. You brought those scrolls to life. They had a whole nother identity through that. And that's what you've done for us today, is that your work completely speaks and really resonates, I think, for all of us today. So huge congratulations to you, Golnaz, on this absolutely outstanding show. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Thank you.